Bodies are a lot
Very
different. Yeah. All built. Now it's fine, right? Yeah. This is, build those years, oh, the one that goes down.
Is it where is it?
It's gonna go down.
The corner over there by the Chinese restaurant, isn't that it?
There is a Chinese restaurant.
There's a donut shop. Right, favorite. Bagel shop, there's a bagel shop. That's right near there. Is it right in that section there?
Yeah, it's right there.
Oh, no.
Yes. What is always down? Will you go there now?
Namanavs, 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 Namanavs. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Let me adjust my mic a little bit here. That's better. I hope you're all doing well. It's nice to see all of you here for the beginning of fall and the end of summer. Today's our Ohigan service, the fall equinox. And as you know, twice a year we gather to contemplate and be made aware of the harmony of nature and the harmony that exists within each and every one of us as well. So Ohigan is an important holiday for us as Buddhists to be grateful for what we receive from nature, from the world around us, and how the Dharma at this time of year is a practice for us to become awakened to the wonderful vow of Amida Buddha. So I'd like to begin with an opening reading. If you please join me in Gassho. If when I attain Buddhahood, the sentient beings of the 10 quarters, with sincere mind and entrusting themselves to the true and real, aspiring to be born in my land, and saying my name even 10 times, should not be born there, may I not attain the supreme enlightenment. Namo Amida Butsa, Namo Amida Butsa, Namo Amida Butsa, Namo Amida Butsa, Namo Amida Butsa. This morning's sutra chanting will begin with the chant of the Sambujo on page 24, followed by the Sambutsige on page 79. Today, on this occasion, the Watsonville Buddhist Temple Fall Ohigan service, the members of the Sangha have come before Amida Buddha with deepest reverence and thankfulness, the all-embracing wisdom and compassion of Amida Buddha. Namo Kia Boots, Namo Kia Ho, Namo Kia Soul.
지혜 무게 조려 시선 지가 신력 계려 신시 적은덕 즉 악여 쇼진 인즉
나무 아미다 나무 아미다 나무 아미다 나무 아미다. Thank you. If you'll all please rise for the Gatha Namu Amida Butsu on page 174.
When life is fair and sunlight gilds the day, when fortune smiles and flowers adorn away, off let us pause with grateful hearts to say, though our way leads neath the darkened sky, and to our love once pain and death draw nigh, our tears may flow, yet trustingly we cry,
And if you please turn to page 10 for the reading of the threefold refuge. Difficult is it to receive a human form, now rarely gained. Difficult is it to hear the Dharma of the Buddha, Now we hear it. If we do not cross over to the truth in the present life, in what life shall we cross over? Let us with sincerity and true reverence take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in the Buddha. May we, together with all sentient beings, awaken to the great way of enlightenment and to the unsurpassed content of the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. May we, together with all sentient beings, enter the storehouse of the Dharma, becoming like the wisdom ocean. I take refuge in the Sangha. May we, together with all sentient beings, become units in true accord, in harmony with all things. The peerless, profound, and wondrous Dharma is rare to encounter, even in many hundreds and thousands of kalpas. Now we are privileged to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of the Tathagata's teaching. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you. Please be seated. Once again, I'd like to ask you to please join me in Gasho. I reflect within myself the universal vow, difficult to fathom, is indeed a great vessel bearing us across the ocean difficult to cross. The unhindered light is the sun of wisdom dispersing the darkness of ignorance. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you. Once again, good morning, everyone. I wonder if Kim and Jane and Perry recognize this reading. I'm getting blank stares. They don't recognize it. That's good that you don't recognize it. And because I'm sharing with you today a talk that I gave at the Watsonville Buddhist temple at their Ohigan service. And so I know that you listened very carefully when I was in Glasser, and so you remember it very clearly. But sometimes it's okay to hear it again, right? The same message. And I've tweaked it a little bit, so it's a little different from what you saw in Glasser. Okay. So there are three important parts of this reading that I want to highlight. And one is this word universal vow. Okay. And the word universal means that it's for everyone. No one is excluded, right? It also means that it's for all time. It's eternal. It is forever. And then there's a second word here called the great vessel. The great vessel that is referred to here is the vow that I started our service with, that carries us or ferries us across to enlightenment. And then finally there's this unhindered light. Unhindered light. Unhindered means nothing stops the light of this vow. That it breaks through all sorts of obstructions, breaks through our own ignorance to reach us. That's what this unhindered light is. So I love the imagery that's in this quote by Shinran Shonin of the vessel carrying us to the other shore. Now, as you know already, Ohigan is observed twice a year, in the spring and in the fall. Ohigan is a time when there's a change in seasons. We just had rain the other day. We see the weather is cooling down. This is the beginning of fall. It's really wonderful weather. There's good spirits because of the change in weather. We even changed the clothes that we wear. There are flowers blooming. In our Jodo Shinshu tradition, we emphasize the basic harmony of all the elements of the universe. And those basic elements are what Amida Buddha represents. All the elements of the earth, of the universe. And Amida represents that harmony. So what is harmony? When we think of harmony, our first thought might be music. The music is harmonious, or it might be colors that are harmonious. A pleasing arrangement of parts that creates an internal calmness about us. This is what harmony does for us. Okay, the Buddha says that calmness comes about with the completion of what he calls the 6 paramitas, okay, or the 6 perfections: generosity, self-discipline, patience, perseverance, concentration, and wisdom. These are wonderful attributes, but these are also very difficult for us to accomplish or to perfect. So we can be generous at certain points in our life, but then our generosity comes with certain, what do you call them, strings attached. We are patient sometimes, but you get on the road and then you lose all patience as you're driving. So all of these are difficult to perfect, but the good news is the Buddha has already perfected them. He's perfected them, all 6 of them. So we are the recipients of the good work that the Buddha has accomplished. And we are the recipients of that 6 paramitas. Knowing our limitations, he's perfected them already. And as Jodo Shinshu Buddhists, we should look at what we are receiving now. What we are receiving now. Others are generous to us. Others are patient with us. That doesn't say that we shouldn't reflect on ourselves and our lack of generosity or our lack of patience or self-discipline, but keep in mind that as we continue to look at Ohigan, and what it means is that we are the recipients of these wonderful attributes. So Ohigan observance is intended to instill in us a certain amount of hope. Hope for what? We can all hope for a better world, a better society. We can all hope for this peace and happiness that we want. However, much of that is really out of our hands. But we can hope for peace of mind. We can hope for enlightenment. This time of year is a time when we're better equipped to for our spiritual practice. And as Jodo Shinshu Buddhists, what is our practice? What is our practice? Our answer might be to recite Namo Amida Butsu, to say the Nembutsu. The other question might be, so why do we say Namo Amida Butsu? The answer is that in this life, we live with self-centeredness. And as a result, we have anxieties. We have obstacles in this life. And it is the Nembutsu, Namo Amida Butsu, that pulls us over to the other shore of enlightenment. Ohigan is a time for us to reconcile any anxieties that we may have. So I want all of us to understand that perhaps more than Nembutsu, the practice of the Jodo Shinshu Buddhist is introspection, looking at the self and listening to the Dharma and how it relates to us. It is said that if you hear and you listen to the teachings, then the recitation of Namo Amida Butsu is only a natural response. Namo Amida Butsu is only the result of hearing and listening to the teachings. Sometimes we're hearing, but we're not really listening. Jane tells me that I need a hearing aid. And this ear is the ear that she's always talking into. And this is the ear that I'll have to turn my head and say, what? And she has to repeat herself. So one day she says to me, how do you spell niche? And I said, M-I-T-C-H. She goes, no, niche. I said, M-I-T-C-H. And then she looks at me and goes, never mind. But she was, niche, not niche. In truth, I wasn't listening clearly. I was thinking about something else. I was concentrating on something else. So I don't listen. And as a result, I don't really hear. If I could hear, if I could listen carefully to the words, then it would take an effect upon me. Right? If we listen to the words, it would take an effect upon me. Listening means something is taking an effect upon us. Listening does not imply that we're just hearing something. So in Japanese, Nenyo said, our whole being will take an effect on our lives if we listen to the Dharma. In Japanese, the word is kiku, means to listen. It means to hear. But also, it means that something is benefiting us, our lives, the word kiku. The other third meaning of kiku is chrysanthemum, the flower. Okay. So there are three meanings to the word here. In this passage in the larger sutra, it means that sentient beings, having heard how the Buddha's vow arose, its origin and fulfillment, are altogether free of doubt. This is to hear. Okay. So, I want to point out something. You know, there's these three meanings of kiku, but we have these lanterns up here. Okay. They're called kiku rinto. They're a chrysanthemum lamp. So all the flowers on the lamp are chrysanthemums. They're called kiku rinto, which means the circular chrysanthemum lamp. And it's unique to our tradition as Yodo Shinshu. It has all these chrysanthemums engraved on that beautiful lamp. But as I said, kiku also means to listen. So the word here in the passage from the Larger Sutra means that sentient beings, having heard how the Buddha's vow arose, its origin and fulfillment, are altogether free of doubt. So it can refer to a benefit that we receive also from listening to the Dharma. It's like the medicine that we take that helps us in our body. Listening to the Dharma is the medicine provided us by the Buddha and prescribes the curing for our self-centeredness. So the large kiku rinto here, are not merely decorations, but they're to remind us of the importance of listening to the Dharma. So one day, a man went to the Buddhist temple and listened to the resident minister and his Dharma message. And the man listened to the message. He didn't think it was very interesting. After the service, he said to the monk, "Hey, your message was garbage. So you are also garbage." Hopefully I won't hear that in my lifetime. Now, if ordinary people were told such things, they'd get angry, right? If someone said that to you, they'd get angry. But this monk said to him, "You are a very kind person because you teach me about my true nature. Thank you very much." So listening to the monk's response, the man thought to himself, what was he thinking? When the man returned home, he told his wife what he had said. And he said, "I don't understand that monk. I told him he was garbage, but he responded with thanking me." The wife said to him, "The monk is very kind and gentle. That is why he looked at you and thought, you are also kind and gentle. However, you looked at the monk and thought he was garbage because you are garbage." So the monk, this is what the wife responds to the husband. So Amida is like this monk with a pure heart. Amida sees each of us as precious. Each of us is rare, knowing that we cannot have the same kindness of heart. Amida embraces us and guides us. So this story tells us how we look at the world with all of our senses. We can see it with the heart of anger or the heart of kindness, with disgust or appreciation. By listening to the Buddha's message, we begin to see the true and real self. Many of you are familiar with this famous image that depicts Ohigan, the other shore. It's a famous picture of the white path and the two rivers, one of fire, one of water. Zendo Daishi, the Chinese monk, used this as a metaphor to illustrate the path that leads one to the land of Amida Buddha, to the Pure Land. The picture shows a man standing on the shore, and before him is a small, thin, white path. The travelers, you and I, were caught in this world of samsara, world of suffering, of anger and greed. The river of fire represents our anger and hatred. The river of water represents our greed and our attachments. And both rivers are seen as raging, scary, and dangerous. Behind the man are wild beasts and bandits, urging him to stay, while the Buddha is urging him to come forward. All of these competing elements create confusion and create doubt for the traveler. And Zendo wants us to place ourselves in the position of the traveler, where there is danger ahead, there is danger behind us. So what would be our reaction to being in that situation? What will we do if we're in that predicament? Okay, personally, I would convince myself that everything is fine. Everything is all right. I'm good right where I'm at. No need to risk my life by taking this thin white path. I'm comfortable living my life now. No need to risk losing what I have. And when the Buddha calls me from the other shore, I'm saying, it's okay. I'm fine right here where I'm at. Okay? The Buddha, Shinran and Amida, they want us to look at ourselves standing on this shore. We don't see that who we are or where we are or what we have done. This is the definition of Bombu, being lost and confused. This is the definition of someone like myself, who convinces oneself that everything is okay, right where I'm at. So I'd like to consider a metaphor for us today. There's a famous temple in Kyoto, and I have fond memories of this place when I was a student, but also the last time I was there, I traveled with Barbara and Bob and others, and we went to this Sanzein. And it's not a tourist attraction. It's very quiet, very beautiful, and I'd like to use this as a metaphor for us today. To illustrate this, I want to share this picture of this temple. It's in the northeastern parts of Kyoto, and there's a building. This building in the picture here is the Ojo Gokuraku Hall, and it was built by Genshin, the sixth patriarch of the seven masters, and he built this temple in memory of his parents. And there's a unique style of architecture that is about this temple that I want to bring up. But inside, you'll see a statue of Amida, Kannon, and Seishi, the bodhisattvas of wisdom and compassion, and Amida in the center. And then, if you look at a diagram of a boat, this is a diagram of a model ship, and it shows you the shape of the bottom of the boat. Now, if you turn it upside down, then this is the shape of the ceiling of this temple in Sanzein. It's built like the hull of a ship. And this is what the Gokuraku-do looks like. It's the hall of perfect bliss. And the ceiling was built like a boat to remind us of Shinran's words that encourage us to board the ship of the Nembutsu. The ship has been provided for us. All we need to do is board that ship. If we had a choice of walking a small path with fire and water splashing over the path, would we choose that, or would we choose the boat? Personally, I would choose the boat. So we can cross over the painful sea of birth and death by boarding the ship of Amida's vow. So I like to think of Amida's ship looking like this. It's a beautiful cruise liner. So Shinran encourages us to embark upon the boat by grasping by the vow of Amida. So the reason I think this metaphor works is that we're encouraged to listen to the Dharma, but we're not often good listeners. Amida calls us, Shakyamuni calls us, Shinran calls us, yet we're filled with doubt, we're filled with skepticism. If we think of all these people that are on this ship, what comes to mind is that we're not alone in this journey. We're traveling together with fellow travelers. Notice that on a cruise ship, everybody's relaxed, everybody's happy, everybody's having a good time. They haven't changed in the way that they are, but they're relaxed and enjoying themselves. Some are listening, some are not listening, some are seeing, some are not seeing. But we dwell in the world of illusions, not seeing the true and real self. And we might call this ignorant bliss through the Dharma, which is a self unfolding before us. We're encouraged to see the true and real self, even though it may be painful. I was talking to Reverend Nakahoshi yesterday, and his wife, his cousin, is married to one of my favorite ministers by the name of Tetsuno. And I remember Tet's sharing this story with me that I want to share with you as I begin to close today. There was once a nosy neighbor who always looked out at her neighbors and always criticized them. No matter what they were doing, she would criticize the children that were out there playing, being too loud. She would criticize the neighbor's yard because of all the weeds that were in the yard. She criticized how they parked their cars. She even criticized the look of their home. She would continually criticize the next door neighbor, and especially the woman there for not doing her laundry properly. As she hung out her laundry, the nosy neighbor would remark how pitiful it is that she washes her clothes, but she doesn't do it right, because the laundry that she hangs out there is so dingy and dirty. The clothes were terrible looking, and I hate to be a member of that family to have to wear those dirty clothes. Well, this is the window from which the woman looked at the neighbor's laundry. Oops, can't see the window. There's the window. That's the window she's looking out at and seeing the laundry hanging on the line. It's a silly example perhaps, but we look at the world through our own lens, seeing what we want to see, hearing what we want to hear. And that's where Shinran says, my eyes being hindered by blind passions, I cannot perceive the light that grasps me. Yet great compassion without tiring illuminates me always. So listening to the Dharma helps change our outlook on the world and ourselves. Jodo Shinshu Buddhists are those who truly realize the embracement by deeply and carefully listening to the teachings. Such realization is based on our humble or even critical realization of who we are or how we live our everyday lives. For a true and real realization of Amida, Buddha's compassionate work, arises only when we deeply and humbly recognize and realize the reason for Amida's vow that he established to embrace us. So Amida's vow tells us that no matter what happens during this journey, we are assured of reaching the Pure Land without any difficulty. Such doubts and fears spring from the unenlightened mind, the mind that Shinran called the dark mind, the mind of foolish beings, or Bonbu. The source of suffering and anxieties comes from our delusional self. For Shinran showing the dissolution of the dark mind through the light of the Buddha's wisdom, it gives rise to the diamond-like mind of trust, or Shinjin, that once attained cannot be reversed, and thus is the decisive cause for carrying us over to the other shore of the Pure Land. Thank you. Please join. Though we lack both disciplinary practices and wisdom, we can cross over the painful sea of birth and death by boarding the ship of Amida's vow. Upon crossing over to the shore of the recompensed land, the dark clouds of evil passions will be instantly cleared away, and the enlightened moon of Dharma nature will quickly appear. Then we shall become one with the light, unhindered in the 10 quarters, and shall benefit all sentient beings. Then and only then can we say that we are enlightened. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you very much. Before we move on and close our service, I want to make some announcements. You may have seen some of the announcements scrolling on the screen earlier. This Friday, we're going to revive our movie nights that we had before COVID. This Friday we show the film 11 Rebels. It's a kind of a Dirty Dozen kind of movie in Japanese. We'll show twice, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then 7 o'clock in the evening. And there'll be light refreshments with the movie. That's this Friday. And then the next day, on Saturday, the 20th, we take part in the California-wide coastal cleanup. And we meet at the Boss Landing Beach at 9 o'clock. All the grabbers and bags will be provided for those who come. And for a couple hours, we'll pick up the trash that is accumulated over there at Moss Landing. And we'll meet at the very end of Jetty Road. So if you're going, you drive into the Moss Landing State Beach, go to the end of the road, turn left, and go all the way down to the end of the Jetty Road, and we'll be gathering there. And again, there'll be a potluck lunch following the cleanup. Next service will be next Sunday, the 21st, at 10 o'clock, regular Sunday service. Any other announcements? We have a Panda Express coming, right? What day is that?
October 24th.
October 24th. Okay. So please order your Panda Express. And I just want to say that we have a golf tournament coming up in a few weeks in October 13th. So if you haven't signed up, or you know someone who golfs and would like to play, there are forms on that table. We're also accepting donations for those who'd like to sponsor a hole. And all the proceeds from that tournament go towards our Tri-Temple events, like yesterday's seminar, this weekend's beach cleanup. Cheryl?
The Tri-Temple cleanup, the potluck, it's not a potluck. 'Cause
Oh, okay.
there's-
The temple's.
Each temple is providing
Three
something.
temples are providing.
Yeah. I know that
So nobody
Saint.
bring anything.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Thanks,
Uh,
Cheryl.
Good point. So there'll be barbecue out there, there'll be drinks and different things, so please come. Okay, let's see, any other announcements? That's it. Thank you for attending today. Please rise and join me in Nagatha Ondok San 2 and remain standing for the closing reading. Although my eyes, blinded by passions, although my eyes, blinded by passions, do not see the brilliant light which embraces me, the great compassion never tires, always casting light upon me. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you very much. Please be seated. Thank you so much for attending our Ohigan service today. And as a reminder, next week will be regular Sunday service at 10. Please Oshoko and drive home safely.